we are testing the students' performance. In the informal assessment, what is happening? In the informal assessment, to test the knowledge, whether the student has grasped that knowledge or not. So informally, we are assessing that we are assessing that in the classroom itself, like by inquiring, by asking them to uh, recall, or such as with a small short answer questions, we will be asking them. So in this learner's triangle, learning objectives, instructions, and assessment, the three elements play a major role. So we have to, as my part is totally deals with the assessment, but instruction, learning objectives, we have to relate. So that's the reason why I have included this learner's triangle in this particular session. So moving to the next. Role of the student, assessment and evaluation. So what are the proposed objectives? When it comes to the proposed objective, I think I have already given an information that all the participants to have your own syllabus copy with you, so that you can understand what is the objective of your syllabus. What is the objective? Why we are dealing with that particular subject in the classroom, and what is the outcome, and what is the course outcome, how we are mapping this course outcome, program outcome, and your uh, specific outcomes. So mapping happens only when proposed objectives are clearly defined, and we are comparing with the instructional procedures, right? What are the say sometimes we will be taking the class through an assessment, through an uh, traditional way of lecturing. Sometimes we teach them by learning by doing one activity into the class. So what kind of procedures we are using, how objectives are achieved, how objectives are achieved. Say for example, yesterday in the psychomotor domain, certain procedural knowledge is procedural knowledge, how we can assess when we observe what the student how the student is. Say for example, in engineering, most of the times in the uh, especially in the lab, what happens is they'll give the systematic procedure to complete one experiment. So we will be observing whether the student is following that systematic procedure or not. So when he follows, we can say that objectives are achieved. We can say that objectives are achieved. But how we are evaluating? We are evaluating with the various assessment tools. Why assessment tools? Assessment also helps the student. Assessment also helps the teacher. That is the reason why we are evaluating. So there is a relation between the student, proposed objectives, instructional procedures. That's why here I mentioned one important aspect, the role of student assessment. And why evaluation? Because our ultimate objective is how far the student has attained the objective outcome achievement. Outcome achievement, right? So moving this keep in your mind. Say especially here we will be talking more about this one only, evaluation. So how we are evaluating the students performance, how we are evaluating the knowledge of the student, right? So moving to the next. 1 minute. Okay. Is my PowerPoint is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because simultaneously I'll be using the notepad also,
Yes, sir.
so that participants are requested to keep with you your syllabus, because based on the syllabus only we will be designing our question paper. So let us discuss about the assessment. As I told, assessments are of two types. One is formal assessment and informal assessment. Formal assessments will be conducted in the form of like semester end time based semester examinations will be there, like that. But informal assessments, uh, uh, which helps in understanding the student's knowledge, especially whether he acquired that knowledge or not. So when it comes to the different types of assessments, test is test, because this test is most of the times teachers, after completion of the first module, they will tell the students that we want to test your knowledge, so we are giving you a test. What kind of test it is? Is there any procedure for that test? So when there is no procedure for that particular test, then we will not call it as a test. A test should comprise a procedure where students' behavior is obtained, where students are evaluated, and we will be using certain standardized procedures. Say, for example, when you have answered this particular question, you carry 2 marks. So what we are doing here is we are determining the student's ability to complete certain tasks which are related to skill or maybe knowledge of any kind. Sometimes we will be giving some multiple choice tests. That's why if you observe certain textbooks, at the end of the chapter you will find a few multiple choice questions. Why multiple choice questions are kept at the end of the chapter? Because to test, the student should demonstrate whether he has acquired that knowledge or not by answering those multiple choice questions. Another one, assessment. So in the assessment, what we are doing, it is also a systematic procedure. We are also collecting certain information. I request the participant to mute your mic. There is some disturbances. I request the participant to mute the mic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So in the assessment, we are collecting certain information that can be used to give the feedback to the student. So in the assessment, generally we will be gathering the information to monitor the progress. Right? Say, for example, you have given a small test for 10 marks. When you have given a small test for 10 marks, the student has taken the test and you have evaluated. Based on the standardized procedure, you have allotted certain marks, whether it may be 5 marks or 8 marks. So when student approaches you, why I got 8 marks, you will be telling that the systematic procedure, how you evaluated, what is there and what is not there in your answer. So most of the times assessments we use only to gather or collect the information about the student performance. Assessments may include a test. See, as already we have discussed the test. In the assessment, test may be a part. Test may be a part. Different kinds of tests you may give as a part of the assessment. And how you are going to measure that assessment, how you are going to measure the performance of the student, because measurement happens only when you have certain rules or procedures, attributes, then only. That's why what we do whenever we have given the question, what we'll do, we'll say if you have written the complete answer, you will get 10 marks. There are certain questions. You have to complete the question within the word limit, say 300 words. When you complete the answer within the 300 words, then you will get the 10 marks. Clearly laid down the rules and procedures, and we are assigning certain numbers. That's how we are measuring the students' performance, by assigning the numbers. So in the next one, evaluation, how we are evaluating. Now, after testing, after assessment, after measurement, we are evaluating. What is this evaluation? Evaluation, it is a process where we are making certain judgments based on the criteria, or sometimes based on the evidence. Suppose if the student has met that criteria, rubrics, for example, when we talk about the rubrics, why we use the rubrics? Because in the rubrics you will find different criteria, descriptors will be there. So these criteria will help us to judge the student's performance. So test, assessment, measurement, evaluation, the important elements of the language of the assessment. We call this as the language of the assessment. If it is clear, I'll move to the next slide. The different types of the assessments. Different kinds of assessment procedures are there, as I told you, in the teaching learning process, which can be classified in a different ways, which can be described in a different way. Sometimes assessment happen at the time of the classroom instructions. Sometimes assessment happen at the time of the completion of the class, before the class, in between the class, after the class. And what we are doing, we are interpreting those results. This is how we use the assessment. So here, different types. When it comes to the different types, the first one, placement assessment. So in this assessment, we will be determining whether the student is having the prerequisite skills or not. If you observe, whenever the student wants to enroll in a particular course, whenever a student wants to enroll in a particular course nowadays, especially in the online programs, if you observe, they will mention one particular term called prerequisites. Suppose if I am joining an MBA, the prerequisite, the student should be knowing about the knowledge of accounts, commerce knowledge. The prerequisite. Therefore, before measuring, before assessing, in the placement assessment, we will be determining the prerequisite skills. Formative assessment. I think in the COVID period, you might have seen more this, you might have heard about this particular formative assessment, which we use to monitor the learning progress, especially during instruction. But the purpose of the formative assessment is to provide continuous feedback to both the students as well as teachers. Because what is the objective? The objective is the achievement of the instructional objective. What is your instructional objectives? It will be there in your syllabus. Why you are discussing this syllabus to the student? Whether it may be a lesson, whether it may be a unit. The objective of that particular concept has to be explained, and we have to test, and we have to evaluate. That is the procedure. And most of the times, if you observe the current trend, teachers are preparing. Teachers are preparing these criteria, these tests, based on the content of the classroom instruction, based on the objective of that concept. Teachers are preparing different kinds of assessments to test the students' knowledge. And these assessments also help the students to continue their attention towards the class. That's why we will be in between, we will be giving them certain. Why we ask the questions in the class? Another one, diagnostic assessment. So diagnostic, a self-explanatory word which refers to determine the strengths and weakness of the learner, specifically in certain areas. When we adopt this diagnostic assessments, when we implement this diagnostic assessment, when we want to evaluate the student, especially in the formative assessment, sometimes we use this diagnostic assessment. It covers broad areas, broad content of the class is covered, because we are testing the student in which specific area he is very strong, in which specific area he is very weak. In the summative assessment, at the end of the course, we will be assessing. Why do we use summative assessment? Why do we use the summative assessment? Participants can give their responses in the chat bar. Why do we use summative assessment? And especially we use this summative assessment at the end of the course.
We can check with what is the learning capacity after the courses is done.
Okay.
So that we can easily find out like what the students are capable to learn with the given courses.
Yes. Any others? See, summative assessment generally done at the course end. Why it is done at the end of the course? Because student has to be provided with the course grade, and we have to assess whether the student is eligible for the certification or not. Because in the summative assessment, teachers, as it is, we are all the teachers, we might have made certain standardized procedures where the student has to achieve those standards, benchmarks, then only he will be awarded with the course grade. So for that purpose, summative assessments will be used, and these assessments basically be used at the end of the course. Now participants, observe the two questions what I have given here. Observe the two questions. Did you solve the problem and define the management? Can anybody explain what is the difference between these two questions?
So define means they have to write the meaning as per a quote which is given by a particular person.
Okay.
The solve means it's like they can write with the answers what they know about the topic.
Good. Any others? Because in these questions, in these two questions,
I think one more, sir. Did you solve the problem? I can give only two options, either yes or no.
yes. Right now. Yes or no. Right? Did you solve the problem? We have only two options, yes or no. And in the second question, if you observe, define management. So where we will be providing short type of answer. So why these two questions I have taken as an example? Because when you are constructing any test, item analysis is very important. Because we have different types of questions where we use to test the students' performance. And when it comes to the testing analysis is required. I think most of the times, recently AICT has launched a project, right? Parak, where students are assessed. The student is assessed based on the MCQs, multiple choice test items, most widely used for the assessment. And it's not that easy to construct one MCQ. Because the student has to select one particular answer from a group of several alternatives. Luckily, I got an opportunity to contribute few questions to the assessment portal. Even my questions rejected. 3 to 4 questions are rejected. Then I analyze why the questions are rejected. MCQs only. They told that my response options are too lengthy. So for example, this is also one important. Say for example, I have given an option as like this. Can you tell me whether is this the right way of giving an options to test the students' knowledge?
So sorry to disturb you. Are you sharing anything, sir? Because only PPT slide was there. That is 2 question thing. So you told meanwhile you'll be using the.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we are visible only the 2 questions, sir.
Yeah, actually I have opened the notepad. Okay, no problem. I'll make it in the. Say for example, option A, I have given 1948. Option C, second. Okay, like this I have given 1947, 1948, 1949, 1950. This is the right way of designing a question, especially in the MCQ. See, for assessing the cognitive, when it comes to the cognitive domain, we have basically 2 types where we can test. One is supply type and another one is the selection type. See, supply items which are called supply type because students are required to give the answers. Say this define management. Define management is the example for the supply type, and for the selection type, did you solve the problem? But in the MCQs, what is happening? In the MCQs, what is happening? The student is provided with the various alternatives. In those alternatives, the student has to select one particular response. So why supply items are used? Why selection items are used? Why? See, when I am asking a student define management, what you are testing? Your testing is writing ability. You are testing whether the student able to put his thought on the answer sheet. We will be testing the creativity of the student in providing the answer for defined management. We will be testing whether the student has recalled that definition what I have given in the class. In the selection type, see, did you solve the problem? Did you solve the problem? What are the options? We have only two. Yes or no. So what we are assessing here, we are judging. We are judging the students' correctness, whether he has selected the right statement or not, whether the student able to differentiate or not. You got my point. These two questions, supply type and selection type. Because why? Most of the question papers, if you observe, sometimes we'll be using objective type, sometimes we'll be using short answer type, sometimes we'll be using long answer type. But when you are constructing MCQs, there are many rules and procedures that we need to follow. Suppose if I want to include an MCQ in any of the question paper or in the mid test or after the unit, if I want to test the knowledge of the student, I will be giving certain MCQ. But how you are going to construct the MCQs is very, very important. Just a minute, trying to share. So my notepad is visible now. Yeah. Now, for example, especially here, there I'm giving certain rules for designing an MCQ. So this I have taken an example. So here, what I have given when you got the independence, say for example, 1947 I have provided, 1948 I have provided, 1949 and 1950. So how many people you say that this is the right way of designing an MCQ? And why it is not a proper MCQ? What are the reasons for the poor construction of this MCQ? See, sometimes we say that these are the distractors. Okay, distractors when you are giving, there should be some importance for that distractors also. So what importance is there in 1940? Some major event should have happened. In 1949 it should have happened. Then only we call it as a valid distractors. Attractors are also there. Right? So better constructed item. When it comes to the better constructed item, it should not be too tricky and it should not be lengthy also. Say for example, I'll give you another example. Say management refers. Management refers. So I have given here an option with the lengthy answer. So second option with the lengthy answer. Third option with the lengthy answer, and D. Very lengthy answer I have given. See, here management refers. Management refers. So most of the times in the construction of an MCQ, here are option A. We start with like this, refers. Again here, in all the options, prefixed with the term called refers. Refer. Now tell me whether here what is happening. I have prefixed the word refers to my options. See, this is misleading the students. He will think that all the four definitions are management definitions only. So in the STEM, we call this as a STEM. So in the STEM, when you are designing any question, especially in the MCQ, it should be closely related to that STEM. That means, say for example, in management we have so many definitions. Peter F. Drucker has given so many. Prahlad has given so many definitions are there. All the definitions you can give, but one particular definition which refers exactly to the management, and the other definitions exactly relates to the disciplines of the management. In that way, you can give the distractors in the MCQ. Distractors must be incorrect. Incorrect in the sense, say, I have given a definition for finance in the option. So definitely the student will identify.
Guys,
Right? I think you might have understood this particular MCQs. So I'll provide you certain, even say for example, which of the following statements are true? Say like this, which of the following statements is true? So when we have designed questions like this, say for example, management is a function. Planning is a function. So which of the following statement is true? So what I'm trying to give is, I'm giving different ideas. I'm giving different ideas in the question itself about a particular statement. So management is a function. Planning is a function. So this, which is this function, which is acting as a distractor. The student has to select one particular statement which is true. So this is one kind of question. When you are writing any response, when you are writing any options or response, it should be following certain principles. Say, for example, select the product. Select the electronic product. What principle? See, I have to give all the options which are related to electronics. So I have given 4 options with the electronic, and fourth option an electric product I have given. So it becomes a good question because I am following a particular principle in giving options to the students to choose. So what are the advantages that we have with the MCQs? MCQs are very difficult to construct. It's not that easy. We will be thinking that MCQs are very easy to design and easily we can test the students. It is very, very difficult to construct MCQs. Through MCQs, we can assess the students' knowledge very easily, because here we are measuring the cognitive level, especially the cognitive levels are measured with the help of the MCQs. We can measure the accuracy of the student. We can measure even understanding of the content, how far he has understood the content of the classroom teaching. Guessing factor. Why guessing factor? Because we have given yes or no statements. So why guessing factor? When compared to, see, we are reducing the students' guessing factor. We are reducing the students' guessing factor by giving these true or false items, especially in the MCQs. And also, as I told you, in the different types of assessments, we have diagnostic assessment. So this also can be achieved with the help of the MCQs. We get whether the student is very good in which kind of questions related to the subject, direct questions, indirect questions, and we can give the feedback. Even MCQs very difficult for teachers. Why it is very difficult to teachers? Because it takes lot of time to construct 30 to 40 MCQs. Most of the times we have to depend on the students. Dependency will increase. Teachers' writing ability. If the teacher's writing ability is good, we can construct good MCQs. And reading ability, because when we read more and more content, then only we can make more and more MCQ questions and we can test. Because certain questions already available at the end of the chapter. Being a teacher, we will be designing some more questions to test how far the student has understood my lesson or my subject. Moving to, so I think almost you are clear with this part. Up to this part, assessment, language of the assessment. Why I have concentrated on the assessment? because evaluation, especially evaluation in the educational programs, especially a global issue, uh, requires effective curriculum, right? Instructional materials, resources. So how we are giving those, how it is used. That's why assessments are especially playing a vital role. ACT is also concentrating more on the assessment, right? And moving to the questions and the knowledge dimensions, factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, especially in the yesterday's session, it is clearly discussed, right? But before very long back, I have designed this. So I think any questions on this factual knowledge, conceptual knowledge, procedural knowledge, metacognitive knowledge? If no questions are there, because for me, I think it's a very less time. If I concentrate, especially on this one, okay, no problem. I think I have not received any response. Okay, factual knowledge. Why we use factual knowledge? If you observe the verbs, if you observe the verbs, we are using what, define, write, list, and etc. So this factual knowledge student helps the student to initiate about the interest of the subject. See what, define the define management, or write certain theories of the management. We are creating some interest among the students. We are making the students to put more efforts. We are making the students to put more efforts and perform better. So here in the factual knowledge, we are assessing the student about the basic knowledge which leads to the different concepts, different important concepts about the curriculum. The conceptual knowledge, another important deliverables in the higher education, right? But broad range of why this we use this particular word. Why in this concept we are testing the student whether conceptually whether he know how much he knows, right? Psychomotor, this particular procedural knowledge, when it comes to procedural knowledge, psychomotor domain, how, whether he knows the procedure or not. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Suppose if he forgets the step 1, step 2, he will continue directly. Step 3, if he writes, what about the step 1 and step 2? And metacognitive knowledge, when it comes to the metacognitive, we will be assessing the students, whether the student knows, simply we say knowing about knowing, learning about learning. Because most of the times this metacognitive knowledge becomes very difficult for us to implement, to execute at the time of the assessment, because this happens only in the informal assessments. We can implement this assessment. Now moving to levels of questions. I think Bloom's taxonomy, if you observe Bloom's taxonomy, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6. So lower order skills, higher order skills. Learning levels. These are the learning levels. In the Bloom's taxonomy, we assess the student.
Sir,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
sorry to disturb you, sir. Are you sharing
Okay, okay.
PPT, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because we can see only that notepad, sir.
No. 1 second. The entire screen share option is not there, I think, in the okay. The level when it comes to the question paper designing, levels of asking question. See, we ask the question based on the Bloom's taxonomy. Why? Because accreditation, the major role of the accreditation is higher education. Even ASIT is also making mandatory for the accreditation of the program, because it is the role of the institution when they are providing a course, when they are providing a program, whether the attainment of that outcome is there or not. So these levels, when it comes to the levels of asking question, in each level we have different levels of asking question, especially when it comes to the knowledge. Lowest level of asking the questions, where sometimes we will be asking, okay, recall that definition what I told you in the yesterday class. Simple questions that we ask the students to test only the knowledge, lowest level. Level 1, we can call it as a level 1 knowledge, this one. And remembering, so recalling. Can the student recall or remember the information? So that one only we are assessing. Comprehension or understanding. See, here ideas are organized. Say, for example, I ask a question: how do you improve the groundwater level? How do you improve the ground level water? Student A will give the different response. Student B will give the different response. Student C will give the different response. But when I ask in the level 1, what is the definition? I might have given one solution. They'll recall that one only. But in the understanding, in the comprehension, it is not like that. Because we get different kinds of responses from the students. That means it depends on the question. It depends on the question. What question we are asking, and that question is testing what? My question will test the comprehension of this particular level, because these are all the competencies, and these competencies we are testing among the students. We are testing among the students. That's how we have in the analysis of the analysis, whether the student is in a position to break down into different parts and able to identify various reasons, causes, motives. Synthesis. Use synthesis. Here we ask the students to produce certain original ideas to solve the problems. Here we try to uh, uh, assess the student's originality about his thinking or creating. Evaluation, the higher order skill. So here we will be judging the value of an idea, the value, the student's work, how he has provided a solution to a problem, how he is solving the problem. So here we evaluate. So this is very, very important for designing any question. The levels, these are the levels, and this is a this one is a revised. So these levels, and here especially in the semester and examinations, we will not be using level 1. We will be using level 2, level 3, level 4, because observe this clearly. Observe this clearly. Program outcome, MBA program outcome. Program outcome has to be mapped with the core competencies attainment, performance indicator, assessments, and course outcome. So you have a program outcome and you have categorized into 3 competencies, and each competency has a particular indicator to be achieved. And here we are using the tools, assessment tools, to evaluate whether the course outcome has been achieved or not. This is very important for designing any question. That's why I told you to have your subject syllabus, PO, COs, and competencies you can frame. So here, especially in the examination, level 2, understanding, applying, analyzing. Some part we can also test the evaluation of this level also. But creating most of the times will be assessed through the project only. So here through examinations, what we are testing? We are testing the students' level of knowledge in terms of level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. And level 6 is tested in terms of the projects. That's why the projects are given. Learning projects, experiential projects, mini projects. Right? Why these projects are given to assess through time based. These are the time based assessments. Right? Now I request all the participants to have your syllabus with you. So now, one second. I'll be sharing a Word document. I'll be sharing the Word document. It is a sample question paper, how it is designed. I request all the participants, especially accredited institutions, they are following this. Non-accredited colleges. Teachers are the designers. So it depends on us how we are designing our content, how we are designing our assessments. One second, it's taking time to load. Sorry for the delay. It's a sample question I have for demo purpose I have prepared for the subject investment and portfolio management, third semester MBA. So what I have done, first I have identified the program outcomes of the MBA program, and I have identified certain competency. If it is visible, okay, fine. Otherwise, I will maximize the font.
I think it is visible, sir. Enough, sir.
Yeah, it is
Visible.
Yeah, program outcome. The PO program outcome, application of the knowledge. See, for management program, the graduate attributes, if you observe the graduate attributes, it becomes very difficult for us, but we can change those graduate attributes which can be adaptable even for the MBA program also. So program outcome one is application of the knowledge. So management grad should be able to acquire in-depth knowledge of business management and in functional areas with a global perspective and unique. So I have given one program. So what are the competencies? The student should be in a position to demonstrate competency, especially in the domain of the investment and indicators. I have given a sample two indicators. What is that? The student should be in a position to identify various investment means available in India, and students should be in a position to demonstrate the knowledge about the various securities available in the market. So when it comes to the indicators competency, so demonstrate competencies in the portfolio management and indicator, I have numbered, right, 1.2.1. That means these two indicators are the competency for 1.2. For 1.2, we have two indicators, 1.2.1 and 1.2.2. So you will be applying the basic portfolio management model for creating portfolios, demonstrate the knowledge about the various portfolio models. So I have taken 5 program outcomes. For each program outcome, I have taken 1 or 2 competencies, and for each competency, I have taken 2 indicators. And this will be given by the college itself. So program outcomes, if your college is having program outcomes, definitely you can have that one. And when you are designing your curriculum itself, include all. Now, we call this one, see, when you are designing any question paper, when we are designing any question paper, this plays a major role, and we call this as a table of specifications. Table of specifications. In the table of specifications, what you have here, how many modules you have in your syllabus. So you can try with your syllabus copy what you have. You have 5 modules. For each module, I have taken one particular question. And if you observe here, I have taken allotted from each module 10. Course outcome. What kind of course outcome 1? So whether this particular question is attaining course outcome 1, Bloom level 1. Generally in the question papers, try to avoid L. Try to avoid L1 for demo purpose. I have taken simple things to understand. But level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Up to 4 levels you can have in the table of specifications. And performance indicator. See, performance indicator 1.1. Now let me observe 1.1. The student will be able to demonstrate the knowledge about the various securities available in the market. Various securities available in the market. See, identify, demonstrate, apply, right? These are the verbs of Bloom's taxonomy. I can give you at the end of the or otherwise I will share a certain resources are available. You can take the work, Bloom's taxonomy works, which you can use for designing the questions. But when you are designing the questions, quality questions, you have to ensure that which indicator you are achieving, which level of the Bloom you are achieving, and course outcome. And sometimes here specific program outcomes are also included in the table of specifications. And also you can include, suppose for example, this question, first question, explain various investment means available in India. Suppose if this question talks about the psychomotor domain or a knowledge domain or a synthesis levels, which level exclusively, so you can include that also, like understanding or applying, evaluation. So that also you can include, but not required. Not required. This much is enough when you are designing a quality question paper. Another important aspect when it comes to outcomes, Bloom level outcomes, total number of questions and total outcomes, whether you are achieving or not in your question paper, when you are designing your question paper, whether you are achieving or not. So Bloom level outcome, say for example, I can check with the levels also. Level 1 questions, how many are there? Level 3 questions, how many are there? And level 4 questions, how many are there? And allocation of the marks, how it is there. So if you are a question, more number of questions are there from level 3 or level 2 or level 4, or sometimes equally you can distribute the questions in the question paper also. Say for example, level 2 one question, level 3 one question, level 4 one question. So 3 questions you have given from different levels. What
But
I
may I
suggest,
ask, excuse me, sir.
yes ma'am.
Sir, is it mandatory that we should have that indicator also when we are having
Yes.
course outcome?
Yes ma'am.
Both should be there.
Yes, because the thing is that for most of the affiliating universities, university is giving the curriculum.
Okay.
University is giving the curriculum. When university is giving the curriculum, so their program outcomes has to be considered. As affiliating university, we will be adopting that curriculum. And when you are adopting that curriculum, what are our achievement? Because program outcomes has to be achieved. That's the reason why student has joined that program. So after completion of MBA, what you have achieved, what you have attained, even in the accreditation also, NBA is measuring the same thing, the attainment of the student, your course outcome, program outcome, how much it is attained. So we have different assessments. Through question paper is one type of assessment, formative, summative assessment, especially at the end of the semester we take. It has to be for, even when you see ma'am, one thing, after completion of one unit, why don't you select all the 5 levels of Bloom's taxonomy, give them each question from the same module and allot certain marks for each unit, say 5 to 10 MCQs, reciting, say definition, read 5 times definition of management or definition of investment. Level 3, ask one question. Even the higher order skill. So when you say here is there, you should be in a position to identify. Because he can't create the various means. So I can't ask higher order skill in this particular competency. I cannot ask and I cannot expect also. Where I can expect? In creating the portfolio map. See, demonstrate competencies in portfolio, demonstrate knowledge about the various portfolios models and creating portfolio. You should be in a position to develop one portfolio on his own. So indicators Very, very important. Which indicator we are attaining through this question? And this question belongs to which level? This question will, is achieving which outcome? Then we can say that our question paper, through our question paper, we are testing the student optimism. There should not be, I think, still I will be sharing this because framing of the questions very important. Framing of the questions very important. So, am I clear, ma'am, for you? Performance indicator is mandatory.
Yeah, I understood, sir. That we are connecting the CO and the PO through this question to attain the program outcome through this indicator. That is what you are telling. Okay.
Yes, it has to be mapped. It has to be mapped. Why? Because how you are going to assess the student has achieved your course objective, how you are going to attain the course outcome. So we are testing them. We are testing through semester examination. So in your syllabus, try to practice framing the questions, certain questions for each module in all the levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Using the verbs, try to develop certain questions, predefined questions. So try to give them in the class itself so that the student will be in a position. Then you observe, you collect the data, you collect the information, how the student is performing after writing this assignment or after answering these questions, what level. Even teachers also will get motivated. Oh, I'm teaching in a proper manner where the student understood my concept. Student able to create a model by listening to me. The student has understood the procedure. So all these things happens when we are following certain systematic procedures in developing a question paper. Most of the times, what we do is we take the previous year question papers and we select some questions and we give that questions to the students and we ask them to answer and we'll be testing. It's not the proper way of assessment. So, right, I have very few minutes left to.
If you have the rubrics for this, can you share, sir, to?
Yes.
So because you have shortage of time also.
Rubrics is there. Rubrics very. See, rubrics is it is also an assessment tool. Rubrics is an assessment tool, but it cannot be applied to time-based examinations. These are the semester examinations.
I know that, sir. Sometimes for the assignments or like a project, something when we are giving for that, we need some rubrics. So if you have any model, if you share, that will be great.
I have. I'm sharing, ma'am. I'm sharing.
Thank you, sir.
There is no proper definition for a rubric, but most of the times I can say that rubric is an assessment tool where we are having certain criteria, we are having certain descriptors, and which indicates very clearly what has to be given for what content. So that's what a rubric, a grading tool, especially when we use this rubrics, when we are having so many assignments, every unit one assignment. If we give a rubrics for the students will understand the rubric and he will try to perform assignment very well based on the rubric. Okay, I am not. I'm trying to go to a sample rubric. It depends on the teacher how he is designing the rubrics. For any rubrics can be designed basically for the frequent things what we are giving to the student. For example, case studies. We can give every week we are giving an assignment, or certain written examinations will be there. We expect certain thing from the students. So what we are expecting? The student has to write the definition, the student has to write the importance, the student has to write the advantages, and the student has to write the disadvantage. When he has written completely all the 4 elements, then according to the criteria, I can give excellent. That means 4 points he has explained. I can give the criteria excellent. Excellent carries 5 points. Good carries 3 points. Satisfactory carries 2 points. Needs to improve carries 0 or 1. So whatever the content you include in the descriptors, say for example, what you are expecting from the student from the assignment. Say for example, research project is there. Without a clear statement of the problem, he has done the project very well. Well written, well crafted ideas, everything is there, but statement of problem is missing. So your criteria 1 is statement of the problem. Statement of the problem clearly mentioned in the project. Statement of the problem is not clearly mentioned. So rubric, when it comes to the rubric, it depends on the teacher what kind of expectation from the students. What you are expecting that you can make. There are many tools. I'm taking you to 1 second. I'll stop here and I'll take you to one online tool is also there. We have. So practically, that is how you design what I have shown in the PPT, and we have Ruby Star. I'll be sharing this link in the chat box. Is not there. Is it visible? So Ruby Star is a free source.
Yes, visible, sir.
By creating and login ID.
Ruby Star.
Ruby Star. Okay, very easy one. And say for example, I want to develop a rubric for writing assignment, especially when it comes to writing. Okay, research report. Most of the times we will be using this research report writing. See, like this you will get. So criteria. These are the categories are the criteria, and whatever the content here you want, that will be the descriptor, and also we can change this content. Say for example, organization. Information is very organized with well constructed paragraphs and subheadings. Give them the 4 marks easily. So whatever the criteria you want to have, directly amount of information. Okay, sources. I have selected another criteria. Graphic organizer. So you can select as many as criteria. Internet use. Notes. So I have selected, and if you want to modify also, you can add some content. Say for example, graphic should be own. Graphic it should be own. So like this also I can add, I can distribute this rubric to all the students. So what students will do if they want to complete the assignment, they'll go through this rubric. Okay. So teachers no need to give the explanation why he got less marks, why he got more marks, because as per the rubric, this is the standard what we have developed and we have created and we shared among the students. According to this only, we will be assessing or will be evaluating the student projects. That's why higher orders is very difficult to evaluate. So rubric we use it as an assessment tool. It is a tool. So this has to be given. Even for question paper also, we can give. Sometimes university people, they'll ask a schema. Instead of giving the schema, we can give the rubric also. But certain points we have to mention in these descriptors. Say for example, principles of management. If the student writes only 6 principles, how many marks? If the student has written 14 principles, how many marks has to be allowed? So like that also we can use this rubric for evaluation, assessment, and for evaluating the student performance, for especially assessments like assignments, projects, mini projects. Apart from semester examinations, we can use the rubric. You can use this, can be easily, you can download very easily after submission. You can download this in the form of an Excel. So if you want to modify in that Excel sheet also, you can modify. You can create as many as criteria. And there is one source like use Bob's Bloom's taxonomy verbs. I think yesterday ma'am has presented in the presentation. That's why I have not I have not given those verbs. Those verbs I have not given. So you can use those verbs for designing the question, which makes very easy while developing the question. So now I think, okay, if any questions are there, I can take the questions. And I thank all the participants for the patience listening. If any questions, they can unmute and.
Yes, sir. So there is one question, sir.
Yeah.
That is Rubrics you have shown, right? That software is a paid one or it's a free, sir?
It's a free one, free source only. There are so many sources. I have all the sources for Rubrics. If possible, I will share in the evening in the group. I will share to Nagadipa ma'am.
Yes, sir.
She can, even for the Bloom's taxonomy also. Because when we understand this levels, then only we can design good quality questions. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult for us. What we are trying to assess, what we are trying to don't know. Simply asking question is very easy, but the systematically asking question will be different. That's what I want, because designing quality question paper require 2.5 days of time, but I got very less time, 1.5 hours. But this is a very important topic. I thank the Kristu Jayanti college for giving me an opportunity to share my knowledge on developing the quality question papers. I thank the even convener Nagadipa ma'am, organizing committee, coordinators, conveners, participants also. Thank you for listening patiently and try to implement. You have to create this as a template. What I have shown, the table of specifications. You have to create a template in the Word document, and all the units, all the questions. How many questions you have? You can first note down all those questions in the table of specifications, then identify the Bloom's taxonomy level, then which level you want to give to the, because question paper should not be too much of tricky, too much of sometimes. I have that in my presentation also, but it takes a lot of time. This one, framing of questions, because double-barreled questions, open-ended questions, authentic questions, focused, actionable, one-sided. While framing of the questions, we have to follow certain rules and regulations while framing. So, right, if you follow the table of specification, that's enough. This table of specification is prepared based on this and based on the Bloom's taxonomy. Okay, I'll share that Word document also. What I have shown in the form of a demo. If any other questions, I'll take it as already it's task 12.
I think there is no question, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your wonderful knowledge. The essence of all the beautiful art, all great arts, is gratitude. Now I'll request Mr. Biju to propose the vote of thanks.
Okay. No duty is more urgent than giving thanks. We must find time to stop and thank the people who make difference in our lives. Good morning, one and all present here. On behalf of the entire Jayanti College, I deem it my privilege to propose vote of thanks on the 5th day of Faculty Development Program on usage of innovative pedagogical techniques. I take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the esteemed speaker of the day, Dr. Gundupagi Manjunath, Principal, Bheemi Reddy Institute of Management Science, Andhra Pradesh. Sir, your guiding words on designing quality question papers and effective rubrics was very useful to all the teaching fraternity. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm delighted to express the deep gratitude to our respected Reverend Father James B. Thomas, Financial Administrator, Jayanti College, for all the guidance and moral support. I would like to thank our beloved head of the department, Professor Vijay Kumar R., for his constant help and guidance that radiated a source of energy within us. Thank you, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to Program Coordinator, Dr. Aarti Singh, and other faculty coordinator of organizing committee for the successful conduct of the FDP. I would be failing in my duty if I did not thank the participants of this FDP who have made this day possible. I would also like to thank each and every one of you for being here and making this day wonderful and memorable. Thank you all once again and have a great day. I remain.
Thank you, sir. By this, we came to an end of 5th day of FDP. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Ma'am, wait, there is a feedback form from sir. So it's being shared. I am just sharing the form to sir.
I'll share in the group also, ma'am. WhatsApp group also.
So both the links has to be shared, sir.
Yeah, one Padlet link is I have given. Members, they can directly give their feedback on the Padlet.
That is one same link, right? Padlet,
yes,
sir?
Yes, same.
Yes. So, dear participants, we have shared a feedback link for the current session for Dr. Manjunath. The same link will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Please fill the feedback form.
Shared, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. We'll end up the session, sir.